been a while since I've done a haul, but that just means that there's more books. Woof woof! Hey guys, it's me Marcus, aka the Maddogg, and we're back with another video. So we're just going to jump straight into it. This is going to be more of a seasonal haul because I haven't done one since July. And you're probably saying to yourself that that was more summer, but I live in the UK and we only really have 2 seasons, and that's autumn and winter. But the first book that I picked up in August was always An Invader, which was a book that I'd been looking at for quite a bit of time. And Chip Zdarsky is quickly becoming one of the biggest names at Marvel Comics, and I'm really interested in reading this series. The Invaders is that team where I know all the characters that are in it, but I've never really read a title about them. I already started reading this. You can probably already see that I've got my makeshift bookmark here. If you don't already know, I will literally use anything as a bookmark. Like at one point I used a shoe, but so far it's pretty decent. I do feel like it throws you in at the deep end of a story that was going on that isn't contained in this book. But the thing with Marvel oversized hardcovers is that when they go out of print, they go really out of print. You don't see a lot of reprints coming about, so I just wanted to pick this up and make sure I got it in my collection, and I'll probably have a review out of this soon. And yeah, I know throughout this year I've been trying to do a challenge for all my hauls so that I could make it a bit more exciting, but the challenge for this one is to just get this video out finally. The next book that I brought though was Kaiju Max Deluxe Super Edition Volume 2. No, that's not the actual name. I can't really see what the title of these formats are, but I was blown away at how good looking the first book was, and then Amazon had this for 56% off. I'm really excited to start reading this. I love kaijus, I love mechas, I love all the kind of tokusatsu stuff that seems to be incorporated in this. After that, I brought a couple of books off one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and that is Morning Glories Volume 1 and Morning Glories Volume 2. Now admittedly, I'm not too happy with these. They came a bit damaged. Morning Glories was a series that I was reading when it started coming out in single issues, and then I knew that I wanted to catch up with it when there was a lot more that I could read. No idea what's happening with this series. Every couple of months there's some kind of hint that it might be coming back, and then absolutely nothing happens. But I wanted to do a video investigation on what happened with this series. Why did it stop? Where did we get up to? And if there is any plans for the future. And it'd be difficult to do that without revisiting the story and reading beyond where I actually got up to, so that's why I picked these up. Hopefully I can find Volume 3 soon, and hopefully I can just get past my OCD and realise that just because they're a bit beat up, it doesn't mean that they're useless. But then I got the first of 2 very whammy recent deliveries from the channel sponsor Organic Price Books, and I definitely recommend checking them out. They've got great packaging, fast shipping, and amazing customer services. And if you use code WOOFWOOF, you'll get $2 off your order. And kind of like how it feels like this video will never end, you can use that code as many times as you like. I just want to throw out a massive thank you to JP and the team there, because even though I've taken a bit of a break off YouTube, he's still looked out for me, he's still kept in touch, and he's just been checking that I'm okay. And he's done more than enough to look out for me with the books that he sent me in the last couple of months. The first one is one that I am very excited to own because it is the Usagi Jimbo original collection. But as soon as this got announced that it was getting a reprint, I said to JP if he could put one aside for me, and he made sure that he did, and he followed through with that. I am very excited to get into this series. I've said for a while now that Usagi Jimbo is one of those characters that I've wanted to read and I just haven't. I think I even put him in the list of books that I'm ashamed that I haven't read. But yeah, this just looks like a phenomenal series. I'm a bit disappointed that I can't get the rest of the collection in hardcover, but still, a starting point is better than nothing, and when it's as beautiful as this, I am going to be very happy with it. The next book that he sent me should be a surprise to nobody that's watched this channel before, because it's the Savage Sword of Conan Volume 5. I love my Conan the Barbarian. Yes, I know we've got all the way up to Volume 8 that's solicited in, I think it's the original Marvel years. We might even have the same for Savage Sword, I'm not really sure, I haven't really kept up to date. But this is my favourite out of the 2 mainline books, and I'm glad that I managed to get this. But this has been a phenomenal series so far, and I feel like Conan is becoming that character that I'm actually building a library for. I can't wait until the day when we have everything in Omnibus and I can just look back and see all of the series. No idea how many more volumes we need for that, but I am pretty much in at this point, and if I get Volume 5, I am going to follow this through to the end. A book that I picked up from him because I always like helping people out who help me out, I decided to pick up The Amazing Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane Omnibus. This is the one by David Michelinie. I got the variant cover, and I know that they did redistribute DM variants for that, but at this point, it just didn't look like I was going to get one. That's just foreshadowing, keep watching until the end. But I absolutely love the early Image creators artwork, and Todd McFarlane is definitely going to be at the top of that list. Except for maybe my boy Jim Lee. But I am very excited to read this era of Spider-Man, and in particular because I've heard such mixed things about it. But I'm excited to experience for myself, which is why I picked picked it up, and I'm very grateful that I managed to get my hands on this. Another book that I bought from OPB was The Outcast by Robert Kirkman Volume 2. It's the hardcover collection, so I think it's actually called Booktube, but you know, just allow it. And I recently did a complete read through of The Walking Dead, and I enjoyed that series so much that I'm excited to jump into more Robert Kirkman. He's easily in my top 10 favourite writers of all time, but this is a series that I don't hear a lot of buzz about. But there's also stuff like Oblivion Song, some of the side books for The Walking Dead, and I just wish they'd do a complete hardcover collection of something like Battle Pope. Hell, I'm that much of a Robert Kirkman fan that I wish that Marvel would do an omnibus of Marvel Team Up. Mainly just for that one issue where Spider-Man teamed up with Invincible, but still, if you put Robert Kirkman's name on it, I'm probably gonna buy it. Another book that I picked up from OPB, and I think I got this all in September if we're trying to keep track of the timeline, but I got Low Booktube by Rick Remender. Now, Rick Remender is a creator that either does something great or just something that's a bit meh. For me personally, I've never read something of his that I thought was outright bad, and I'm hoping that Low's not going to be the exception to that rule. I love the concept of this, I've seen some of the interior art and it looks beautiful, but for me there's just something always special when a Rick Remender hardcover comes out because it's in this prestige format, and it has to go into a special place in the collection, and I'm just really excited now that we have the end of this series. Another one, and as you guys might remember, I am definitely not a manga guy. But the one exception to that rule does seem to be these Dark Horse Deluxe Editions, because I picked up Blade of the Immortal Volume 3. Out of all the series that Dark Horse have released so far, this is the one that appeals to me most, and I know that there's only going to be a finite number of volumes of this, so I am just waiting until they all come out so I can do a full binge. But I also don't want it to be the case it's 2 years from now, and maybe there's about 10 or so volumes of this, and I need to catch up on them all at once. But at the minute, it's my patience that has to be immortal, and I am just waiting on this series, but I'm still glad that this is entering the dog pound. And the last book that I got from Organic Price Books, which JP was kind enough to send me, and yes, it was a very whammy box that came that day. You've probably already seen it in the background of some of my videos, but I picked up the Captain America by Rick Remender Omnibus. Yes, I know in the past I've been critical of John Romita Jr. a couple of times, but I actually really like this cover. The DM variant was cool as well, but they had this one in stock, and I really wanted to just get this in the collection. One thing that tickled me though, I forgot that Dennis Hopeless worked on this book, so I thought it was one of the reviews on the side, and they were just like, yeah, Captain America by Rick Remender, hopeless. But I remember picking up the first part of this run in single issues, and it was one of those titles that I've just forgotten about along the way. But I do think it's great that we're getting omnibuses of more modern series, and hopefully it means that something like Matt Fraction's Iron Man isn't far behind. As well, just a quick shout out to Hamza, who when they were watching my Walking Dead review, they noticed that this wasn't in alphabetical order on my shelf. No idea how I missed that for so long, but thank you for pointing it out. I'm going to make sure that that's corrected in future. But getting that Rick Remender book tickled my Captain America pickle, which is a phrase that I probably shouldn't say out loud again. But I did decide to finally drop the hammer on the Captain America by Dan Jurgens omnibus. Yes, it's been a good couple of months for Captain America books, and I am very excited that this is one that I can get my hands on. I love what I've read of Dan Jurgens so far. His comics are some of the best that I've read of the 90s era, and I know that this is often overshadowed by the run that was done by Mark fucking Wade. So I do think it's great that readers like myself who maybe didn't get a chance to pick this up when it was coming out, now finally do have that option. After that, I picked up something that was a little bit small, but I also really wanted to get this. Again, not a manga guy, blah 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 blah, you all don't believe that anymore anyway, but I picked up Fist of the North Star Volume 1. This just looks like the crazy shit that I would enjoy. I flipped through it a couple of times, I saw it in a Forbidden Planet, and then I realised that I did actually need this. But it's set in a post-apocalyptic world, it just looks like Japanese Mad Max to me. And say no more, I am in for that. I am down 100%. As well, I really like that Manga does come out with these cheaper hardcovers because they are a bit smaller, but you still feel like you're getting good quality. This is one that I might have to do a sneaky read of though to see if I do enjoy it before I commit to buying the rest of the volumes. We were then moving into October time, and you've probably already noticed that I'm not buying as many books per month as I used to. But the first book that I picked up that month was the Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane Omnibus. Now this is the solo series that is a lot thinner than the one that I showed you earlier. And yeah, I went with standard cover because I got this from Books Etc. because they had it for about 50% off. And I remember how out of print this went, and I really didn't want to pay those prices if it disappeared again. But this does only seem to have about 16 or so issues in, and I think it'll be interesting to compare this to the other omnibus that was released with David Michelinie, and that's something that I might do early next year, just a comparison, or maybe go into some of these retro reviews. I then dropped on and got quite lucky because earlier on in the year I noticed that Amazon in Germany had a heavily discounted price on the Starman Compendium, so that then did get delivered, and I'm very happy with this book, but this compendium does feel quite flimsy. I've got all 6 of the hardcovers on my shelf, and before this arrived I was 100% dead set on selling them, but now that I have this in my hands and I realise how nice those hardcovers are, but I'm not really sure now if I should sell that entire set, make a bit of a profit, and then buy these cheaper versions of the series that's at the same size, or if I should just stick to the nicer quality book. But I do know that this is going to collect the Shade series, which I do believe was left out of the omnibuses. Either way, I am massively overdue a reread of this series. I think I started it when I was 16, so I'm 28 now, which I know a lot of you guys don't believe because of the fact that I really can't grow any facial hair. But yeah, it has been a bit Amazonified, but for the price that I got it for, I really can't complain too much. He says, after complaining too much. I then did another bit of a blind buy because I got Reckless Book 2 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. And when I say blind buy, it's almost like I'm blind, but in the same way that Daredevil is, because I can see that this is probably going to be good. I love Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, they're one of my favourite creative teams. I still haven't cracked open volume 1 of Reckless, but if we're being honest with ourselves, when does this team ever put out a bad book? And this just seems to be a series that they enjoy doing, so I'm hoping that I enjoy it as much when I do read it. I then brought another whammy omnibus that I'd sat on the fence with for a little bit of time because I was waiting for the right cover. I missed out on it the first time it came around at Books XFactor, but I did luckily manage to get it the second time, and that's going to be the Wolverine Omnibus Volume 2. This is by far the best cover to me, and it was the only one that I was going to pick up. I hope that everybody did manage to get the cover that they wanted, but for me, this was the only choice. And I am very excited to jump back in and read through this classic Wolverine storytelling. And it seems like there's just so many good creators on this book that I'm excited to see exactly what's in store. But in case you don't remember, when I got my Wolverine Volume 1, it had the flat spine. This is a little bit curved, so I don't know if I'm going to have to buy another version of Wolverine Volume 1 just so that the spines match. I don't really know where other people would sit with that. I then did another blind buy of a book that I was very excited when I first heard about it, then I realised that I knew nothing about it, so in typical Maddogg Comics fashion, I brought the Deluxe Edition hardcover of it because it is going to be Middle West. But I love when I get an Image Comics series that I know nothing about, but it's already finished and I could just jump into it. I've had some great experience with Image titles already, and I'm hoping that this is going to be no exception, and I'm just really excited that I managed to get my hands on this. But as you may already know, there was one book that I was really looking forward to this year that has just completely eluded me. Every time that I thought I was getting closer to seeing it come across to the UK, it just got pushed back. I saw everybody in the US getting this book and it looked beautiful, but still, I could never find it. Except for full cover price, which is just something that I'm not willing to do. Then it finally happened, and after months of waiting, I have finally got my hands on the Flashpoint Omnibus. Yes, I know some people really don't like this event, but at the end of the day, I bought it for myself and I'm not making you pay for it. But this was the first event that I ever read in single issues, along with Avengers vs X-Men, and I am just really glad that they're finally giving these events some attention. It's weird saying that there's nostalgia for this, and it's even more weird seeing that it says it's the 10th anniversary, because I remember picking this up like it was only just the other month. But my god, does it feel good to finally get this book in my hands. I'm glad that we're getting that Flash Volume 3, and I know that there is a lot of overlap with this book, but that is where I got into this character, so I'm really excited that this is finally making its way into the dog pound, even if it is one of the whammiest boys I've seen in a while. And is it going to be the whammiest boy of this video? Who knows? Well, me, but I'm trying to create suspense. But like I said, October is my birthday, and I normally hate my birthday because of the fact that it's just pretty much a reminder that I'm doing near enough nothing with my life. But weirdly, Shadowcat managed to read my mind, because there's been a book that I've been looking at for a while and I was tempted to pick it up, but she finally got me Gideon Falls Volume 1. This is the hardcover, so again, yes, it is called Book 1. I'm not really sure why I'm getting that wrong so often in this video, but I've been waiting to pull the trigger on this series for a while. I'm really hoping that they follow it up with Book 2 soon, because I believe that closes out the series. But still, I just want to get into it in general, and Jeff Lemire is one of those writers that I've really enjoyed every time I've read one of his books. Hopefully this is no exception, and I'm just really pleased that Shadowcat did manage to get her hands on it for me, and I'm just grateful that it's entering the collection. And as some of you may know if you've watched any of my videos before, I've got a YouTube husband that is comic bound, but we'd never actually met. But then for my birthday, we decided enough is enough, so I booked a hotel that was near him. We met, we didn't film a sex tape. I know that's what you're all thinking, but for the right price, you know, we could be tempted. But he was sweet enough to get me a birthday present, and when he passed it me, he said, don't worry, the name that's on the box isn't what's inside it, because this is like the protective box that Dark Horse did for Tales from the Umbrella Academy Deluxe Edition, which, spoiler alert, is actually going to make its appearance in this video. So I opened it up, and the first thing that I saw in there was That Texas Blood Volume 1. This is from Jacob Phillips, who is one of the up-and-coming comic creators in the UK. He is also the son of Sean Phillips, but he's already managed to step outside of that legacy and create his own. And this is a series that I've read the first couple of issues from, and I really enjoy this. And it was just kind of like Comic Bound read my mind in that he knew that I wanted this. But the other thing that was in the box was just wrapped in bubble wrap, and my mystery intensified. I began unwrapping it, and then when I opened it, I realised that he got me a 9.8 graded slab of the Invincible Iron Man by Matt Fraction issue number 1. It's also the sketch variant, and I remember very vividly picking up this original cover when it was coming out in 2008. To me, this is one of the most symbolic covers in all of comics for one of my all-time favourite series, and I think it's just phenomenal that he got this for me. I'm so grateful, and I still can't really believe that you did that. And thanks to him and SCC earlier this year, I've now got into the slab game. But yeah, if you're watching this comic, I just wanted to say a massive thank you, and more so just for being my friend throughout the lockdown. I know it's been a little bit tough since lockdown's now been lifted, and I don't really have as much time for YouTube, but honestly, this just means so much to me, and I just want to say thank you. But there are just a couple more books, because like I said, I got 2 big whammy boxes from Organic Price Books. Kind of like how if you use the code WOOF, you'll get $2 off your order. But the first book that I got in the second shipment from Organic Price Books was the XFactor by Peter David Volume 1 DM variant. I originally wasn't planning on picking this up, but then I heard that they were doing a Volume 2, and that contained a lot of the stuff that I've read already and enjoy. I realised that I couldn't have a Volume 2 in my collection without having the Volume 1. And I'm hoping that this is as good as the stuff that I remember in the later part of this run, but I just loved this DM variant. I knew that this was a cover that I had to pick up, and I'm just grateful that Organic Price Books had it available. But he was kind enough to send me a very whammy boy that I've been looking at for a while. With me saying that I'm really excited that Marvel and DC are now doing modern runs, this is pretty much the epitome of that, because he sent me the Deathstroke by Christopher Priest Omnibus. Yep, that was quite difficult to say with my lisp. Now admittedly, I do prefer the original cover that they solicited, and it seems like DC just keeps deleting covers that people already like. But still, I do believe I've read the first couple of issues of this, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of difficult because when I do a haul and I end up talking about the books and why I picked them up in the first place, I end up wanting to just read them immediately after filming. So this is one that probably will get a review sooner rather than later, because I am excited to jump into this. Another whammy boy that JP was generous enough to send me, it's the Complete American Gods. Now this is a stunning book. I read Neil Gaiman's original book of this series, and I did really enjoy it, but I never really jumped into the comics. Then Dark Horse realised that if you want to sell something quickly, make sure that you put it in a slipcase. But yes, this is a phenomenal looking book. I've already broken the seal on it and just flipped through it. They've put this gold look at the end of the pages, and I am very excited to read this, see exactly what the difference is between the book and the comic. And again, I'm just really grateful that JP would send this to me. But like I said, I like helping out businesses that help me out, so I decided to buy the Batwoman Omnibus. Again, I have no idea why DC changed the cover. This is just a thought. Why not do a DM variant? Why not let people have an alternative? Who at DC genuinely flipped through this book, looked at every single cover and thought that this was the best one? This has been cancelled and resolicited about 3 or 4 times, and each time it's had a better cover than the final product. But it's like the old saying goes, you cannot judge a book by its cover, because I absolutely love these stories. I'm just glad that this book exists at this point. Maybe I'll do a custom dust jacket somewhere later on down the line, but it's been a long, difficult road to get this one. It's long overdue, and I can't wait to revisit the Elegy storyline alongside all the stuff that happened in the New 52, which, yes, no matter how much time passes, is still my jam. But yeah, despite the cover, it is a very warm feeling to finally have this in the collection. Now, for anybody that's involved in pretty much any group revolving around the collected editions game on either Facebook, Reddit or Instagram, you know that there's been one book in the last couple of months that's just pretty much ignited the community. At first nobody could get it, and then only a few people could get it, and then only the cool people could get it, and then I managed to get it, so clearly it isn't the cool people that can get it. But either way, I got the slipcased edition of Something Has Killed killing the children. JP was kind enough to put one aside for me, which I'm grateful for, and this is just a beautifully put together book. This is a series that I've heard nothing but good things about, and I've been wanting to jump into it for a while. It was a situation as well that when I heard that nobody could get it, I said that I'd just be happy with the standard deluxe edition, but then as soon as there was the opportunity to get this, I realised that I needed it because, well, it's a pretty slipcase. I know that they are doing a second printing of this as well. The foil might be a bit different, but either way people can still get their hands on it. But either way, I think it is great that Boom Studios is doing these collections in ways that people want them, even if they aren't going to do a single collection of GoGo Power Rangers. And yes, I know I left it a complete mystery earlier on when I said, but at this point it just didn't look like I was going to get one. But because I got the McFarlane and Michelini DM variant from OPB, he was kind enough to let me have the replacement dust jacket. I really like this cover, so I am probably going to switch it over at some point, and I'm just glad that I managed to get my hands on it. But the last book that I picked up from OPB, and the second to last book of this month, but I managed to get my hands on the Tales from the Umbrella Academy Deluxe Edition. I got the other 3 volumes of the Umbrella Academy in this format, and I really enjoyed volume 1 when I reviewed it earlier this year. I'm not even really sure what the Tales from series is, or if it's as good as the other ones. But either way, I'm committed. As soon as I get one slipcase version of something, I have to get the rest of the series in that format as well. So I'm glad that I managed to get my hands on this. For a moment, I completely forgot that it was even being released. But again, just a massive thanks to JP on Organic Price Books for always supporting this channel. And now, before I show you the last book, let me just ask you a question. And I'm just going to assume that you're actually answering. When I showed the Flashpoint Omnibus, did you think that would be the whammiest boy in this video? No? Good call. When I showed you the Deathstroke by Christopher Priest Omnibus, did you think that would be the whammiest boy in this video? Oh, maybe, or whatever you actually answered. Well guys, there is a book that I got a week before filming this that is possibly the whammiest boy that I've ever had in my life. Yeah, that's going to be taken out of context. It may not have the most pages, but still the sheer size of this book alone is just phenomenal. It was a complete misprice from Amazon that I just had to take a chance with, but they finally delivered to me the complete Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck Super Fancy Edition. Not the official title. But holy fuck, is this a big whammy book. This might be the nicest book that I now have in my collection. But just look at this. I've seen people take the coin out. I'm not really sure how you do it, and I'm not really tempted to in case I damage the box. There is a slight scuff up here, and I was tempted to maybe say something to Amazon because it's such a collectible. And I know people normally have luck with Amazon and they get money off when they complain, but I'm just worried that they'd say, okay, send the book back and we'll give you a refund. But, you know, I really want this. It went from a book that I only knew about the title of to a book that I now always want in my collection. I'm not sure if I am going to get all those individual volumes. I'm not exactly sure what this collects and what I would still need to buy, but I've just flipped through this and it's clearly a book that's got amazing attention to detail, and it was made by people who love this series. This originally was going to be something that I wasn't bothered about if they shipped it at all, to a book that I am now really excited to read. And yes, I had to put it down because I have completely lost all my upper body strength during lockdown. But this was the last book that I got this season, and what a way to end it. I don't think there's going to be a book that comes out in December that's going to top this at all, so this is probably already my nicest looking book of 2021. If you can get your hands on it, I would just recommend doing it. I believe Organic Price Books does still have some in stock at the time of filming this. This is going to be one of those books that if it goes out of print, everybody will want because it's just phenomenal. And my god, I don't know what more I can say about this book. You're beautiful! So yeah, that was all the books that I've pretty much bought since July, but to make the titling of this video easier, I'm just going to say that it's my autumn haul. And just whilst we're on that topic, for anybody that is interested, yes, I know I haven't done a haul for a few months, but admittedly, the amount of books that I was buying was reducing. And my philosophy ever since I've started this channel has been that I wanted to make videos that excite me. I'd rather do a bigger video, you guys can sit and just get it watched all in one go, and then it allows me to free up time to do other videos that I find more creatively satisfying. But I will be moving forward with stuff like whale watching hauls. It will be coming back. It's just at the time when I took a break because I was having an issue with my eye, I also got a new position at work, which I honestly really enjoy. So it got to that stage where YouTube felt a bit more like work than work itself, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. I'd rather bring out no video than a bad video. And I'm saying that, but most of my videos are pretty bad anyway. But just know, guys, that every time a video does come out, it's something that I wanted to do to hopefully entertain you. So hopefully that does clear up some things for you guys, and hopefully allows me to have some more time to do some more exciting videos. I've got about 8 or so unfinished scripts that I'm working on at the moment, proper video essays where I deep dive and research and do the stuff that I enjoy. I don't know how often I can come out with those videos, but it's something that I'm actively pursuing. And as well, I just hope it's something that you guys enjoy as well, because if I have got less time to do YouTube, I want to make sure that I use the time that I do have wisely. So yeah, that's why it's been a while since a haul, that's why it's been a while since Whale Watch, but hopefully now things are going to be a little bit different. It might be a little bit of a change to the structure of this channel, and it's something that I'm excited about. I don't even care about the views, if I'm honest with you, because that's not something I can really control. I can really only control the quality. So hopefully that's something that you respect. If you don't, feel free to unsubscribe. But yeah, I think 2022 is going to be a very different year for this channel. It might end up failing, or it might end up succeeding, but either way, I'm here. So I guess that's the video for now. If you've been watching to this point, thank you for letting me ramble on. But in the comment section below, let me know what the book is that you were most excited to get in the last couple of months. I'd say share this video where you can, but I don't really know where it can be shared because it's just a video about books that I've picked up. But if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, why did you get this far? And until next time, whenever that may be, just make sure that you stay safe and stay mad, all you dogs. Woof woof! See you at the next video.